It's the Samwich. The Samwich is here.
We're on with the Samwich.
Woo! What's up, tots? How we all doing?
Hello.
Hello. I'm Sam Ho.
And I'm Sam Preet.
And you're with
A Tale of Two Sams.
She sang and I didn't, and we didn't get the memo that one of us was singing. So
That should be assumed at this point.
oh yes, absolutely. Add it to the About Sam Preet. So I just wanted to come on and address something real quick. We will not be doing a tale this week because we have some tales in our sandwich that we're giving you guys.
Lots of good tales. One last thing we just wanted to address is that we're going to be skipping the true crime segment this week because, like Sam said, this guest we were cracking up and we just wanted to hear so much more of what he had to say, so we ran a little bit over time.
So without further ado, let's get into our sandwich. Hello. We are in the sandwich this week with a very special guest, David Yontef.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being on. So basically a quick thing about David is he's a self-made millionaire, which like we all are, so like that's awesome. Reality TV insider and host of the award-winning podcast, Behind the Velvet Rope. I'm going to keep clapping for you because I'm proud of your achievements.
You can keep clapping as much as you would like.
On his podcast, he interviews all the hottest reality TV stars. He can also be seen in over 20 episodes of Real Housewives of New York and New Jersey. He was a guest on the Dr. Phil show, and we are welcoming him to the sandwich today.
Yay!
Thanks for having me. What's going on?
So this is really exciting. I just was doing some research when we found out that you were going to be on our show. And I think it's incredible the amount of time and effort that you put into the Bravo Celebrity world.
That would be it, yes.
Love that.
I have
Come up with that like title.
Behind the Velvet Rope.
Or no, Bravo Levity. Bravo.
Bravo Celebrity. Or like, well, I mean, like I say like Bravo Celebrity or kind of like a celebrity, but they're all on Bravo. And it's like, it's extended. So like my podcast is mostly Bravo people, but we're branching out now to other reality TV people because there's lots of other shows that I'm obsessed with.
I know.
And we're even doing some non-reality now. So like, but it has to be kind of related. Like I would never want to interview like a really serious actor. It's just kind of not my brand.
Like even like Brad Pitt, right? Ugh.
Well, I mean, okay, like I would take these people.
That's
but,
an exception.
Like when we interview people, like I interviewed Perez Hilton. It's like people like that have kind of like a pop culture.
I was very jealous of that. That is one of the people that I've been listening to since like I was like 9, and like I know I like he has a few years on me, but I was like, he was so young and then he lost all the weight. I'm like, once again, like proud of his accomplishments for him.
And he came on twice. Like Perez is because he's really open. Like he'll say anything. And so it's just he's a good time.
That's the type of like energy you need. I feel like when you're doing a podcast, you look for people that are gonna talk, and like say.
That is what we do on here. We do talk.
It's like I have given up trying to predict because it's okay. There's really 3 categories. There's people that I think are going to be amazing, and they are, and I'm like, and also like my interest level is different from everyone that I interview. Like it is a job in a way. So I don't just interview people I'm so in love with, but so there are people I'm just more excited to talk to than others. And then they deliver it. I'm like, this was like the best show and every show should be like this. Yeah. And then there are other people where I'm like, ugh, I don't know, like sure. And then they turn out to be amazing.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. There's probably like some people you love and then all of a sudden they turn out to be shit.
Other people where I'm like, this person is going to bring it. They're going to say everything. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is not going well.
Are you allowed to name drop right now? Or we have this saying, no names on the pod, but I feel like if they're a celebrity, it's kind of fair game.
Probably not.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, I'm really trying to think of examples. Like Perez is one where I was like, this is going to be great. And it was. I'm trying. Okay, so here's an example. Like, so I don't know if you watch like Vanderpump Rules. I don't know what shows you guys watch.
So that's one that I am into. I am into Vanderpump, yeah.
So like Charlie Burnett, like one of the new people from this past season.
Uh-huh.
Literally the smallest of them. She wasn't Brett. She wasn't Max. She wasn't Dana or like the other one. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to say no. She's on Vanderpump Rules. Like, I'll talk to her. I was not excited. Whatever. She turned out to be, she was talking about a Mean Girls Club and how like Stassi wouldn't speak to her and Kristen
Oh, wow.
and just the more she talked, and can I just tell you, so the episode came out right after Stassi and Kristen were fired. It's my highest rated episode.
Oh my God.
Like Google it. It went like viral. It got picked up in like every, so I'm just like, and she's a very like lovely girl. There's nothing wrong with her. I just wasn't excited.
Right.
So, like, do you wonder like if they get like backlash for that? Like, do you think that like Stassi like texted her and was like, "What the hell, dude"?
I think there's all sorts of things. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like this, for like stir the pot.
People think that I've had a bunch of guests on that have said horrible things about Lisa Vanderpump and Erica Jane. People think I come for Erica Jane and Lisa Vanderpump. I'm like, it's not me. But I think I'm convinced now that Erica Jane hates me and Lisa Vanderpump hates me. But
I mean, you're just asking the questions.
Yeah.
but I like don't say these things. So yeah, I think I think people see everything and when they're talked about.
So I was reading your bio, and I think it's so funny that you referred to yourself as this, a closet smart person, because you have a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting and I don't even know how to pronounce this word, Juris Doctor degree.
Juris Doctor. I practice law.
So
I was a lawyer.
That's crazy. So what was the transition for you? Like, when were you like, fuck this, I want to do something way cooler? Well, not that law isn't cool, but you know.
No,
what I mean.
Well, it's not really. I mean, I don't know. The first day of practicing law, I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I hate this. But I did it. And then I finally, when I quit, I went into like HR and recruiting. So I was in recruiting and HR for a long period of time. And then like I just worked at a lot of companies that kept merging. And then listen, I've always loved reality TV, like right from the beginning, like The Hills and The Simple Life, like all these old school.
Oh my God, The Simple Life. I missed that show.
Paris Hilton. I mean, come on now.
Have you spoke to her?
No, but I had today on our podcast, we had the director of This Is Paris. Like if you haven't seen that movie, it's amazing. It's on Netflix. I think it's free, or it's on her YouTube channel, but it's free. You could just go and watch. The director was great. I mean, the woman spent like every day and night with Paris for like a year. I'm like, if I can't have Paris, this is like the next best thing. It was so good. So I just kind of fell into this whole world of like reality TV and hanging out with all of these people. And that's really why I started a podcast. I'm like, all these little stories of hanging out with these people, someone has to find these interesting. And so that's kind of how I started my show. I started talking about like, this is what so-and-so did last night. And then it's just become a thing where like everyone wants to come on. So it's become a 5-day-a-week interview show now. Like I can't keep up.
5 days a week. Wow. That's funny. I mean, I see that because it's like, I feel like in those types of shows, everyone wants their side of the story told. So if one person's going to go on, you're going to get everyone in that show also on to kind of not fight back, but give their side.
It kind of works that way.
Yeah. So is there, okay, so you mentioned The Simple Life. Would that say that's in your like top 3 reality shows ever?
Yeah, I would say so. And The Hills.
Okay.
Who doesn't love The Hills?
That's a classic.
I met her a long time ago.
I'm obsessed with her. Just looks wise. Like, I just think that she's stunning and like just naturally pretty, but like I could also like see her in person and be like, oh, you look like a doormat. Like,
I mean, listen, her brand is huge. Like it's so funny. I was on her Instagram today. I'm like, oh my God, she has 6 million followers. Like she's built a real brand.
Yeah, she really has. And like from Kohl's. And like, I don't know, that's not like my go-to like shop, but like, hey.
I wouldn't want to go back on reality TV if I were her either. I mean, whatever amount of money she's making, it's a hell of a lot more to just go to work every day.
Are they actually doing a season, like a new season for it?
So like, you know, that Hills new beginning. So I just had like Jason Waller on my show, and season 2, it was already supposed to be back. It's just COVID that
Right.
like derailed it, but it's definitely coming back. Misha Barton is not coming back, unfortunately.
Damn it.
I
Wow.
love Misha.
Who doesn't? I feel like what's not to like about her?
The
All right.
OC was such a good show.
So good.
The OC, I remember watching that like behind like my parents' back because that's how like little I was. It was like not even supposed to be like on like those channels, you know?
Well, it was a good show.
Definitely.
Yeah, like I feel like I caught the Hills because of my older sister. Because I feel like I had to be, I mean, me and Sam, I'm 24, Sam's 25. I guess we were pretty young when the Hills came out, but it was
But you
still
remember some of it.
Yeah. And I was going to mention, because I am obsessed with it and always will be, Jersey Shore. I know it's like a different channel.
I love Jersey Shore.
But Jersey Shore to me is like just like a work of art. Like the original, obviously.
I feel like that was David's Hills because that was probably around the same time period.
Yes.
You know, going off of like, you know, when we were in our like teens and like so like we were able to be like sculpted, like our minds were like so like easy to like grab a hold of and be like, oh,
Yeah.
that was the time periods. And it's like funny to think about how like we put that on such a pedestal.
I even watched Double Shot of Love. I had 2 people on. I had B Lashes and Marissa on my show.
Yes, we had Pool Party Poppy, Antonio Locke. He's one of my best friends from high school, believe it or not.
So you watch the show.
Yeah.
We do. We have to.
Isn't it a great show though? It's so good.
Entertaining is what it is.
I think they're trying to go with the whole like Jersey Shore spin-off type of vibe, you know?
They're like, this makes money. Let's keep it going.
And
Right.
what better cast to do it than like those characters, you know?
It's like Paulie and Vinny are so rich at this point. Like that's all I can think
Filthy.
of. But think about it. It's such an easy gig. Like they basically didn't have to hang out with Antonio or any of those people. Like they had their own thing. They would pop in for like a minute and everyone else was probably paid, you know, a tiny bit and they were paid a ton and they were
Yeah.
there for like an hour a day, basically.
It is wild.
We gotta start getting paid like that. What are we doing?
Right?
Seriously.
Damn. I have one last question before the fun stuff. Yeah, just because I found this so interesting. So in the Cuts coverage of BravoCon in 2019, I read that you sold your tech recruiting company to fund like your stalking lifestyle of housewives. And in the article, you're quoted saying, I will literally get on a plane, meet one, meaning I guess a celebrity, and fly home. And that you estimated that you've spent 250 grand over the last few years meeting Bravo stars.
Well, first of all, you know how like when people speak to the media and then things get completely twisted and they say that and you're like, that's bullshit. It wasn't twisted. Okay, so like, listen, there's not truth to that, but that whole article is written like by some asshole that is totally mistaken out of context. I mean, I did sell a company. That is a correct statement. And I am friends with a lot of these people. So, you know, like without COVID, if someone right now on Tuesday was like, I don't know, Vicky Gunvalson's like, come out to the OC this weekend. There's a party. Well, I will go.
What are you going to say? No?
Right. Like, why not? So, I mean, really, when all is said and done, if I were to add up planes and hotels and more planes over years, that's probably an accurate figure.
But you know what?
If you didn't do that, wouldn't you not be where you're at today?
I mean, that's the thing. So it's led to a really successful podcast. Because I mean, that is the thing. Like, I think that I found out through this podcast, like I don't even know what the word is. Like, I don't even know if connections is the right word. But when I started calling on people for guests, I thought like I would have to say like, you know, we met once and a lot of people were just like, slow down. I know exactly who you are. So I think I have to say a lot of it was from meeting these people and hanging out with these people throughout the years.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think I gave myself enough credit for like, oh, this person knows me.
Yeah.
So I have a totally different relationship to it now that I have a podcast, because I don't know, it's almost like I don't get like excited. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? Like you meet someone like a Pauly D. Would I love to meet Pauly D? Of course. But like I've interviewed people that are Pauly D. So like what's the big deal?
It's
I mean,
right.
like, yeah, I think like the more you're around certain people, the more it's just, and so the thing is like, just because you're on TV, that's great. But let me tell you something, when you're on my podcast and I'm asking the questions, you're on my show and it's going to go how I want. I mean, you could walk off if you want, which has never happened, which is always a fear of mine.
Really? Why?
You hit the hard hitting questions or like, what's up?
Yeah. And like, so you always have to, like, certain people I have on, people are like, why didn't you ask this? It's like a fine balance between like, you have to ask certain things, but you just can't ask certain other things. There's just certain things you just know, like this person's not going to want to answer. And not for nothing, there's a lot of different types of interviews. Sometimes there are whole teams of people involved and you have to send questions and you have to get questions approved, and you are literally told you can't, like when I had Max and Brett on, I was literally told like, you cannot ask about racist tweets.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So I work in PR. So
okay,
I'm a film publicist. So I feel like it's so funny when I do these interviews because I'm on the other end. Like now I'm interviewing and normally I'm just like listening in behind, and I'm that person that's like, well, you can't ask this and we can't talk about that and we have to remove that. And like, it's so weird being on both ends of it.
right. So like you have people like that come on and they're like, what the hell's wrong with you? You didn't ask about the racist tweets. And listen, I'm not going to explain myself to whoever, but it's just like, you have no fucking idea how this works. So sit the fuck down. And when you get your podcast, call me. But don't you think I would have asked about the damn racist tweets if I was not told under no circumstances can you ask? And I'm like a person of my word. Like you can't, I don't believe in like saying you're not going to do something and then you do. You'll never get that person on your show again.
Yeah, no, and I think though that also the worlds that you're in of reality TV, you know, like Sam said, she works in films, I work in sports. Like I know that these worlds are small. So if you piss off, Tom Brady, you're never getting a Gronkowski on your show. You know, I don't know if you're a sports fan, but you know what I'm saying? So you have to really be mindful that these people are also human. You know, they also have a life to live. And, you know, so you want to respect them as much as you want to be a journalist and get your answers. And so I give you props because I think that's why you're so successful. Not only that you spend a lot of money, but you also knew the balance. And that's something that a lot of people don't have those social cues in that sense. So
you do, like you like read the room and you ask certain things and then you just get a temperature check of this person's like open or they're like clamming up. And like I had someone on today from the New York Housewives who hasn't been on in years, and like just we won't even get into it because like the episode's not going to come out for a minute. Okay. But like I went there and just politely she would answer and we went there, but then she just kept changing the subject. It wasn't obvious, no one's going to pick up on it, but after like 4 or 5 times I'm like, okay, so I had 10 questions and I asked like 6. That's pretty good. And now I'm going to move on because I don't think this is appropriate anymore that she just answered them. And this was also like 10 years ago, and there's a hint for you. And I'm just like, we have enough around this dramatic experience that I can now change the subject because she is being graceful. You just read the room.
Of course. And that's definitely a special talent, and I think really plays into your success. So congratulations. And to that, let's do a sip break, shall we, guys?
Oh, let's
do it. We'll do it.
I think we can address the funny thing right now that Sam is the only one drinking wine. I'm being so lame right now. I have water.
And I'm having coffee, but I'm going out for a drink after this and I drink vodka. So I'm going to have 2 drinks. And I mean, I will go to bed with like a little bit of a buzz on.
Good. You know what, guys? If I was going out on a date, David, is it a date?
It's not really a date. It's really not. It's really not. It's not a date. I really don't know what it is, but it's not like a date. Here's the thing. I make no effort to date.
Okay. I respect that.
Do you think that you're just too busy? Like, do you think that it's just like you've given up at this point? Is it like, what plays into that?
I like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting home staring at the four walls. I get out there, but I feel that dating is just so boring,
Yeah.
more or less.
I think when you first start dating, it's really hard
It's horrible.
to make it like very interesting, which plays great for me and Sam, who have a podcast that talk about sex and relationships and all the insane things that happen when you first start dating. Because if we were in 6-year relationships, this would be kind of boring. But so you're single, right? Is that like fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
That is fair to say.
You heard that here first. Let's go, guys. So what are your views on dating apps as, you know, are you still like in the millennial or like age frame or?
Yeah.
Okay. So as like a millennial, what is your take on dating apps?
I mean, I don't know. I've said this before. I personally, my favorite dating app is the Instagram DM. That's my favorite.
Oh, love
For
that.
me, well, you know what it is? Here's the thing. I'm not opposed to any dating apps. I'm really not. But it's just like weird. It's like you start from this place of like dating. Well, I also think dating apps could be summed up in one word or two words, pen pal. You talk to people and you just talk. And you're like, I'm talking to 17,000 people.
Yep.
Or okay, 25 people,
Mhm.
and they could all be great, but you just, and it's not like I play games. I'm just like, I don't care enough to make the first move. So now I'm just talking to like 27 people.
Right.
And there's no plan with anybody to ever meet. So I don't know what this is here.
100%. I mean, I've been on dating app for 3 years and I've met one person.
Same.
One person, you know,
I've been on Hinge maybe 2 years, but it took me 1 whole year. I was talking to this guy for 1 whole year. It took
No,
to
that's
finally,
like ridiculous.
yeah.
No, that's
And
insane.
it didn't even, I mean, he was a nice guy and we went on a couple dates, but like that was it. So
Right.
what was I doing for that year?
I also think like not knowing like the person's like friends or like background, like as much as I feel like sometimes it helps me because I'm a different person than I was in college and I'm a different person than I was in high school, I think that it's also a little bit like weird. Like I need to like know who you like surround yourself with.
That's why I love Instagram.
Right.
Because so like, okay, so like people will say to me, like I try to get back to everyone. I mean, it's not possible sometimes, but like if someone, I mean, women slip into my DMs too, and they're like, I love your show, blah, blah, blah. But like if some cute guy slips into my show and is like, I love your show, like to me, it's like if you write to someone, I don't know, it has that, you're not necessarily hitting on me, but if you're cute, I will write right back and be like, great.
Yeah.
Right. How do you feel about the swipe up on the story?
Yeah.
But wait, so I also love, to that point about friends, like I love on Instagram that like, for me, it's like, I do not have a curated Instagram. I look amazing in some pictures. I look like shit in other pictures. I just put it all out there. I don't have like anyone that has this gorgeous curated Instagram, more power to you. Lauren Conrad, more power to you. It's gorgeous. I have perfectly squared pictures, other pictures that are half cut off. I do the best I can. I am on Instagram all day. So I like that you can like look at someone's Instagram and there's 8,000 pictures.
Yeah.
And they're with all these friends and you can see, like you can't hide. Whereas on a dating app, you don't know any, I mean, it doesn't mean you know the person, but like at least you can see like they're at 5 sports games or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it all hangs out there on Instagram. And so that to me is better.
And I think that like following someone on Instagram is like a big thing. You know, if you just look at my Instagram, I'm not a big poster, but I'm a big storyer. And I don't know if that like, if like you feel like that as well. Like if I'm following somebody on Instagram and I'm looking at like their stories, like all the time, like with friends and at sports events, like you're saying, or concerts or something like that, I'm like, I'll swipe out and be like, oh, love that. Like, love that team. Can't believe you're a Jets fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like to, that's how I'm going to start a conversation with you, you know? So I can agree with that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm open to other suggestions, but I just think it's better than dating apps.
And I also feel
think
like,
so too.
yeah. And I feel like, I mean, Hinge, for example, they have these like prompts, and I feel like people try too hard to be like clever and funny with like, the prompts that are given, and then it's kind of like, or are you just trying to be clever and funny because this is all you have to work with, or is this actually your personality? Like, it's kind of like, it's hard to distinguish. I feel like it's very generic.
Another typical Sunday. Are you still watching from Netflix? Like, I'm going to literally like
get a new joke.
I'm so over that joke.
It's sad because like there should be a good app. There should be, but I don't know where it is.
So, okay. Let's go back for a second before I move on to this topic. So you were saying like if a woman or like a man like swipes up on your story, you're, you know, or slides into your DMs rather, like you're cool with like, maybe you'll respond to the woman, but you're more like likely to slide back into the cute guys DMs, correct?
Well, okay. So like if someone writes me saying they love my podcast, I will on a good day respond to every single person, but I will keep it like podcast related to like a woman, like great. Like, are you subscribed? Like when I'm in work mode, I'm all business, even like kind of with the cute guys. Like, are you subscribed? Did you do this? Did you do that? Like, come on. Like this is mama needs to eat over here. But then if it's a cute guy, like after I do all that, I'll be like, oh, wait a second. And then I might say like, so what episode did you like? Like I'll gear the conversation away from the podcast. So I'll respond to everyone, but I'll be like, oh, wait a second. Like, I'm awake here. Like, interesting.
Yeah, and I've always felt like, do you feel like it's a way that you've like helped to grow your podcast? Not to go like back onto the subject, but like that, you know, people get more of a positive taste in their mouth for you by you responding to, you know, a random person on Instagram?
Yes, and it's fucking exhausting. I am convinced that so I've done like a lot of like interviews like about how to like grow a podcast. Like it's one of the things I talk about. Like I do interviews and like podcasts that are just starting. Mm-hmm. I give advice. Yeah. I mean, I think it's exhausting, mm-hmm. but I truly think that, I mean, the goal would be to be so big one day and so busy that you can't respond to everyone. Right. But I just think like, yeah, people feel that they're a part of it, that they're growing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something that I didn't realize when creating a podcast is just how much time like social media takes up in general. Mm-hmm. I'd really love to listen to your advice. Is that a separate podcast than Behind the Velvet Rope?
It's obviously? Like it's mostly interviews with like magazines. Like
oh, awesome.
Like not even podcast magazines, but a lot of them are just like, it's online somewhere, a bunch of them, like just entrepreneurial magazines or like how to grow a podcast. But one of the things I say is I think engagement really helps.
Yeah.
So if someone says, I love the podcast, I just think, what is it to you to just say like, thank you for listening?
Right.
And I have to say, 90% of the people, well, not 90%, but a huge portion are like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's just like, all right, well, I mean, I'm right here in my DMs. Like you're not asking me to, you know, get in a cab and travel across the bridge to New Jersey. I'm just responding to you in the comfort of my own home.
Right.
Like, I really think that people feel, and a lot of people then will go back and forth and they'll be like, I can't believe how nice you are. So I just feel like it doesn't hurt. Does it help? I don't know, but it doesn't hurt for them to feel like that episode sucked, but that's okay because you put out a lot of others and you're so nice. I'm going to stay with you. That's how I feel.
Exactly. And like, I wish that like Joe Santagato would feel like that, like about me, like sliding into his DMs like every 2 weeks, but like whatever, like he doesn't, so it's fine.
But you know, you'll just keep trying.
I will. So, okay. When was your last relationship? Let's get into this.
Forever ago.
Okay.
I literally like forever.
Would rather hear that being like, than you being like, well, I got out of a relationship like last week. And then before that, it was probably like, a year before, but then it ended about 3 weeks before I got into this relationship. Like I hate chronic daters. It's something that I'm like realizing like hardcore in this like time. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, I feel that like the worst prison sentence in the world is to coexist in a relationship. To me, that is just like a death sentence. I don't understand why people do it. more power to everyone that wants it. I would literally rather be single for the rest of my life.
100%. And the second that I hear that you were in a relationship a month before, we started hooking up or whatever the case may be, and you want to be my boyfriend already, I'm like, bye. Like, it's like, gotta go. Gotta jump.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a red flag to be so jumpy from one person to one person. Like, how do you build a genuine connection that quickly, stay in a relationship for, I don't know, 6 months, a year, break up, and then like you immediately need someone else? It's like, do you have time for yourself? Do you even like yourself to be alone? Like, why do you need to keep jumping around?
And it's too desperate. And like, it's attractive for like 3 days. Like, if they're cute for 3 days, you're like, oh, this is nice. And they're all about me. And you can go with that and go out like 3 times. And then you're just like, no, I see something is off here. Like, this is not normal.
Well, David,
Too much.
I think that goes into like the fact that, like we were saying before, that you can read a room and like that you like pick up on social cues and stuff, because I know plenty of people who have been in relationships with people that just got out of relationships and for years. And then they get out of a relationship with them, a 3-year relationship with them, and they have a new girlfriend in a month. And you're like, like, how could they do that to me? It's because they did that to the girl before you. So why do you think you were different? Like.
Yeah, it's not for me. Like, I would just rather be alone, and if it's not right.
Like, amen, me too. And I'm glad like we're all on the same page with this, because I was like, is this just me like being like super judgmental?
No, and like you see those couples that are like out to dinner and you're just like, I mean, I'm okay with silence and nice silence, but like when you're just not talking or just like, this steak is good. Yeah. It is like, oh my God, kill me. Kill me.
Yeah.
Listen to other people's conversations, like when you're in like the restaurant. It's always like,
yes.
What do you think that is like over there at that table?
Well, I have dined out with this new 25%. And let me tell you, I am loving it. Like, you go in and you sit at a nice table and you're like, we can be like wild animals. Like, nobody can hear us. That table's over there. Like, I love it. It's amazing.
Yep. I watched the Yankee game last Thursday in a bar for the first time, and I felt the same way. I was like, are we VIP right now? Like, we were screaming. Meanwhile, there's like nobody in the bar.
It's
just
great.
Us. It was fun.
That every person around you was like figuring out the dynamic, or at least like me sober going into a bar like that's only at 25% capacity. I'm like looking at the table next to me being like, what's the dynamic there? Like, who do you think is dating who? And like, what's going on with this one? And it's like, maybe I should like get better company that I'm like doing that all the time. I'm always like, is their relationship strong or are they just talking about the steak and saying, yeah,
Yeah, because that's awful to me.
It's a fun game to play, to guess how long couples have been dating by looking at them. Like, even if they're like on a date at the movies or at a restaurant or I don't know, even in the park, I love to play that game with couples. I'm like, I wonder how long they've been dating.
Me too. So this kind of goes into like the story. I think we told you that we do like a traumatic or funny, and this is like to wrap up like our sandwich with you. So traumatic or funny for our listeners, hopefully you guys know already, but if you're like listeners of like David's and you're just like here to have fun with us, I'll explain it quickly. So we basically tell a story, and you ever tell like somebody a story, like a friend of yours, and all of a sudden like you think it's like so funny, and then everyone's like, like from your childhood or something, and everyone's like, ooh, that's not funny. That's weird. Like, that's traumatic. Like, so we like to tell a story like that, and we like to go like against, quote unquote, our sandwich guest. So David, we told you that we were going to do this. So do you have a story ready, or do you want me to go first?
I would like you to go first. You go first.
Okay. All right. So here's my traumatic or funny story. So I go out to dinner. Actually, sorry, let me start again. Here's my traumatic or funny story. So I have tickets to a movie through work. My coworker, who's my best friend at work, also has tickets. So he asks my best friend to go with him because he was into her. And I asked the guy that I'm seeing, probably about our 3rd, 4th date, if he'd like to come with me. So he says yes, she says yes. We go basically a double date, but with my 2 best friends and the guy I'm seeing newly. So movie's over, we go out to eat. He worked around that area in the city, so he was like, oh, I have a great place, over here. It's called Madison and Vine. I don't know if you've been there. Have you been there? It's
No, but that sounds so familiar.
you probably have, because it's like the only place to eat like in that area. It's very
Where is it? Like Madison in the 30s?
It's Madison and like I would say probably closer to the 40s, because we were like coming out of Times Square and like walked down to Madison.
Close. I'm picturing it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very though, like it's a little bougier, like it's a little, you know, we were going to like TGA Fridays in like Times Square. So whatever, we go over there and we have a good time. Bill comes and it comes between me and the guy that I'm seeing. Lady puts it down. I put my card down as a courtesy. He puts his card down, and the guy that was seeing my friend puts his card down. Waitress comes over to pick up the bill, and the guy that my friend was seeing says, put half on this card and then you could split it between the other two cards. So at this point, he's paid for her, and me and my date have split it with my two best friends.
I hate that. I don't love that.
Weird. It's weird. So I was like, oh, like, haha, like that's like so awkward. And like the next, I'm like, didn't think much of it. And then the next day, my like friends, my two best friends, who he was like trying to schmooze, were like, I don't think he likes you. Like, why would he do that? And I was just kind of like stumped. Like, I don't know. Like, we continued dating. He never did something like that again. But it was just such an awkward and honestly traumatizing experience. Like, I will never bring my friends around a guy that I'm going on a third date with. My best friends. Is that fair?
Interesting. No, I think that's fair.
Wait, I ask you though, as like a gay guy, do you guys split the bill? Like, what goes on with that? Like,
I mean, listen, it's less set.
mm-hmm.
It's less set. Like, I hate, because now, see, I had no story. I didn't know what I was going to tell you, but now you made me think of a story. I just hate people that like nickel and dime. I hate it.
Oh, we do too.
Like,
that's like a big thing for us, that are like,
so
well,
like,
you owe me.
Right. And so like, I don't know, even like, I feel like you pay to be out. So to me, it's like, I don't know, if you're with like 4 people and you ate one thing and they ate 2 things,
mm-hmm.
you just split it by 4. Like, let's not get, when one person starts being like, well, I only had this, I'm just like, you should just be home.
Choke them out. Yeah, 100%.
It's so annoying.
1000% agree with that.
The reason I felt so weird is the guy that my friend was on the date with paid for her. You know, I wouldn't have thought about it. Split it evenly, but at that point, don't you go, well, all right, the guys are picking it up this time. You know,
and he just didn't say anything, and you're like, whatever. I mean, you're not going to take the card back at that point.
Right.
You know?
That's, yeah.
Okay, you know, whatever. It was just a weird situation. So tell me your traumatic or funny, and then we'll go head to head.
It's not even like, I mean, I don't even know if this is traumatic or funny, but it's a similar story because I didn't know what the hell I was going to say. So we were at the Regency. Like, if you watch New York Housewives, that's like where they all hang out. It's bougie and whatever. So my friend, like, there was a whole, here's the thing about this particular bar. Like, you go in with maybe like one person and you run into like 700 people, you know. So despite the fact that I went with one person, like, we all knew each other. There was probably like 7 of us, 8 of us. I don't even know how many people, 6 of us. And this one guy from, I think, Switzerland was hitting on this one friend of mine, a girl. Mm-hmm. And he was like, let's all go out to eat. Like, I'll take your friends or something like that. Like, again, like, not being cheap, but like, none of us even wanted to go. And they just met. He wanted to go home with her. I'm like, whatever. So we all went to this other place right around the corner to eat. And like, none of us really, and we were drunk. Like, we did not need any more to drink. Right. So this guy was like, get them all rounds and shit, like, just bringing everything over to the table. It was just one of those nights where, like, this goes against everything I just said, where we're just like, well, okay, like, I don't want any of this, but if this guy who apparently wants to sleep with her and apparently is really well off, is paying for all of this, like, yeah, I'll have like 12 more drinks. Like, what the fuck do I care?
100%.
Everyone kind of was in now that mode, but really, this isn't like none of us wanted this. Like, nobody ordered anything. He was like, get them this and this. And there was just champagne and drinks and after dinner drinks and food. So then, like, somehow these two, it's like, just do whatever. Somehow she made it clear to him after like, I don't know, 2 hours that like she was not going home with him. So then he proceeds to tell the waitress, like, okay, so pay for me. And he was going to pay for her. But like all these other people, fuck them. And they're all on their own. Now, like at that point, I'm just like, it wasn't that big a deal. But then we had a girl in the group who is really cheap. So now she, like, it was okay. Like, this is what it is. Like, we did drink and eat all this. Granted, you're an asshole because I didn't want any of this. Like, seriously, none of it. Yeah. And none of us did. But, like, I'm not going to wash dishes tonight.
Right.
So everyone's now pissed. And yet at the same time, but this one girl is so cheap that she was like, I'm going to give $20. And it's like, sweetie, like, sweetheart, like, we're all in this. Like,
I got you a half a drink. Sorry.
Like, right. And how are you? So then I just like, and it takes, you don't know me that well. Like, it takes a lot for me to just, and I just lost it on her. Just,
oh my God.
It wasn't even the money. It was just like, you are a cheap fucking bitch. So as mad as we all are at this guy, then me and this girl are getting in this huge fight. And I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, who the fuck are you that like, you're paying $20? Like, that's not, it's like $100.
Right, exactly. And like,
also, sorry that you're not interested in paying this. Like, we all do things every day we're not interested in.
Like, why aren't you embarrassed? Like,
and we just got like in a huge fight. Huge.
Say that it like kind of traumatized you to like, as far as like letting your friends, guys that they're talking to, like, or would you say that it's just like a funny story that you look back on? Like, how would you classify it?
Well, it was like a comedy of errors. It's like none of us wanted to even go. Now we're here. None of us wanted to have, I mean, I would have had one drink. I'm sitting at a table, but we had like literally, the guy was like, so what do you like to drink? What do you like to drink? So, I mean, it was clear that this was all on you. Oh my God. And then it's like hilarious. Like I'm saying, like we're saying to our friend, like, you couldn't just pretend you were going to sleep with him for another 5 minutes.
Right.
Until we fucking clear this shit out of here. And mind you, she was ready to fall under the table. She was so drunk anyway. So it was just like, so many things went wrong. I'm like, let's just pay the bill and get the hell out of here. Like, right. and how am I now in the screaming match against someone else? Because everyone else here is so afraid to speak up.
I feel like I relate to that on like plenty of levels. The first level is I'm always the asshole to say things when no one else wants to. Sam, you could back me up on that.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. Sam definitely isn't shy to let anyone know when she's upset, which is fine.
Well, and like I feel like I get where you're coming from. Well, it wasn't just you upset; it was everyone. You know, nobody wanted to be in this situation. You got put in this situation, and this girl's gonna be like, I don't want it. Like, it's like it's like not about you right now. Like, we're just trying to like get the fuck out of this restaurant. Like, could you just like stop being a bitch? I don't know. So then I relate to that, like on like that level. Then like also on another level, it's like I've related to the fact where like I don't owe you anything because you brought me out on a date. Like, so, you know, he asked you guys to go out because he wanted to sleep with your friend. It didn't work out because she ended up finding no interest in you. That's not on her. That's not on you guys. That's not, you know, that was a chance you had.
Yeah. I have to say literally fuck this dude. Like, I feel like it really all goes back to this guy. I mean, offering $20 for like a whole night is crazy on your friend's part. But going back to this guy, like, what an asshole. Like, how do you just do that?
So that's the thing. So at the end of it, like, and we were all really drunk, but we're like, I hate this guy. I hate you. I hate everybody. And then these other friends were like, oh, calm down. I'm like, I don't you know, because it was like a nice upscale place. So there was just so many things going wrong. But to that point, like, now I have a traumatizing story of like 1 year for my birthday. Because, like, you know, I like to do like different dinners for my birthday. Like, I don't live like a big, like, you can take me out. I don't need to do anything. But when people are like, let's go out to dinner. So like these two friends of mine were like, where do you want to go to dinner? This is what I do. I give you 3 choices. Because, you know, it's New York. You want to try a million new restaurants. Right. I give you a very, very high-end place, a middle place, and a low-end place. I don't care where we go. You can choose way up here, in the middle, or down there.
Yeah.
Look at the menu, figure it out. And so these two friends took me out for my birthday. I don't even know when, like 3 or 4 years ago, they chose the high-end place. I'm like, I don't care. Let's go out.
Right.
They were like, let's order this, let's order that, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. And again, I would pay for this dinner times 10.
Right.
And it was expensive. And the bill comes
No.
and they're just like, okay, so should we split it by 3? And that is so, and there was a birthday cake the waiter brought over. That was mortifying. That was literally, it was so mortifying. That was mortifying. I was literally embarrassed. I was like,
traumatizing.
That was traumatizing, honestly.
This is for your birthday.
Seriously.
Was it a big birthday?
I don't even.
Not that matters, but it's just still, that would just make it even worse.
And again, like it was one friend. It was one friend. One of the 2 friends. What is so fucking cheap? And mind you, she makes like $8 trillion. Again, I don't.
It's always the rich ones that are cheap.
Again, I don't care. I don't care. Like it wasn't like I didn't even flinch. I'm like, I don't care. I'll pay for this damn dinner.
Right.
They just, I guess it was just that when the bill came. Well, again, what goes through your mind? Like I gave you 3 choices. Very, very cheap place, like a normal New York place and like a high-end place. All 3 places I wanted to try. You chose this one. What did you think was happening when we ordered like wine and 18,000 rounds of drinks? And they were literally like, and the waiter seriously kind of like looked at me and I'm like, I am a total loser. Yes, that I have no friends, that I am paying for my own birthday. That's correct.
Number 1, David. I will bring you out this year, okay?
I mean, that was traumatizing.
That's definitely traumatizing. I feel like a lot of times we get stories that like are at the end of the day funny. This is absolutely traumatizing. Wow.
It was just, if there was no cake, if there was no, like, it's his birthday, which I don't want any of this. Like, I don't want a damn cake. Please don't sing to me. I would like none of this. I am more than happy just to go out for a nice dinner and pay.
Right.
It was just this, let's take you out. And then there was a cake and the waiter sang. And I'm like, oh, I'm so embarrassed anyway. So it wasn't like, maybe this isn't my birthday. No, this was clearly my birthday.
Right, exactly.
Oh
and
my God.
And I always say that I find it a little bit embarrassing when, we're going to go out to eat. I'm really not like a splitter. Like, I don't like to put 3 cards down.
I know.
I'm either going to pick it up or let my friend pick it up, or, you know what I mean? If it's people I go out with, like, if I frequent with them, like, I let, we switch off.
Totally.
Or there's such thing as, like, Venmo and, like, I don't know.
That's why, like, you asked me about, like, dates. Like, I don't really care. Like, when I go out, I really don't mind paying for a date. Like, if I had a good time and I'll never see the person again, I don't care. It's not like, now I'm in the hole money. I don't care. Like, it's just like the cost of, like, living. Like, who cares?
Right. And I've always
But I agree. I don't like splitting it. So I'll just pay for the first date. I don't care.
Right. But, like, you know what? I've always wondered that with, like, I feel like there is like the stereotype there that's like, male plays for girl because male X girl out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or, I don't know why I'm saying like male, but like whatever. But like guy X girl out. But like, what happens when it is the same sex couples? Like, is there something where it's like a very back and forth, or is it like a split the bill, or does it depend on like the person you're with? Like, like it's kind of
so many things. It depends on so many things.
It's a lot more to think about.
Yeah, we kind of touched upon it in our episode that came out yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I feel like our general consensus was that whoever is like asking whoever out should offer to pay. Maybe if you're in like a long-term relationship, right? Fine, start splitting that shit. But if you're asking someone out, even, and you, like you were saying, like, even if it's like if I ask Sam, like, let's go grab drinks, like, and she's like, oh, I can't, like, some money's tight right now. Like, fuck it. Then I'm offering, let me pay for you. Like,
Right.
It's just so much more fun that way, isn't it? Like and then the next time we go out, I won't even remember this. And you'll be like, no, remember? And I'll be like, oh yeah. Okay, great. This is so much fun. Exactly. It's not even the money. It's just the principle of like life.
And that's when you have good friends, though. That's when you know, like, this cheap girl, like, you wouldn't do that with. Like, I have a cheap friend, and I would do something for her. Like,
Same here.
you know what I mean?
100.
It's
100.
It's principle. So
Right. And I don't even go out with that girl anymore, but for a while I did. And same thing, like I would not even give you like $1
no,
just because now it's just the principle. And I know you're keeping track because this is what keeps you up at night. So I'm going to now fucking play your game.
yeah,
And just
And then you're like, how is this a
stressful?
friend? Yeah. You're like, how is this a good, like, fuck this. Like, I'm not interested.
I've been like saying, David, like recently, Sam's gonna be like, you're like a broken record. Can you like stop talking? But I've been saying recently that I cannot deal with friends who are too much work, too much maintenance. Like,
Get rid of them. I clean house all the time. Listen, it's not like I wish you the best of luck. It's nothing personal.
Right.
I am not better than you. I don't look down upon you. We've grown apart if we ever were together, and like it's just not fun. So what's the point? Like just go your own way.
Yeah.
I am like very laid back when it comes to like friendships. Like if it's too intense, like I just can't do it. Like I'm too stressed out now. Now you've stressed me out and I just don't want to have anything to do with it.
A life. Like you have a life besides like your friendship. Like, you know, and I think that that's a really positive thing to know.
Yeah. And like I have like, for me, like I mean, I'm a Gemini, not that I'm big into signs. Like I have so many different friends that like, I'm never going to be that person that's just like, you are my friend and we will go out 7 nights a week. I need to like, and I'm also like, I just mix. Like you and I are out. I don't care. Like, and bring whoever. I'll bring 12 people. I have friends that are very regimented. Like, I'm seeing this person on Monday. You can't come. That's your. I'm like, what? Like,
I don't understand that at all. I see.
I think they have no life.
I don't understand that extreme where it's like you don't mix your groups of friends, and I also don't get the other extreme where it's like friends getting offended if they're not invited to everything. Right. Because I feel like that's also very like, that's immature too. Like you need to just, everyone's friends, everyone's nice to each other. And if the relationship's too much work, if I need to be like scared someone's going to get mad at me because I don't invite them somewhere, it's like, that's not really, that's not a friend.
Right. No, and like I've had friends in the past where like if we were gonna meet at like 9:00 and it was like, now I'm really good about time. Like I understand 45 minutes late. That's one thing. But like if it's 9:00, I have friends where like my phone will start ringing at like 8:59 or 9:00. I'm like, I'm 4 fucking blocks away. Now I'm actually not picking up the phone. I'm actually gonna walk around the block one more time because now I'm fucking pissed off. It's like you have met me out for drinks 8,000 million times. Yeah. I'm 5 minutes early. I'm 5 minutes late. Like it's not
right.
And if you can't sit at a bar by yourself for 5 minutes, you need serious therapy. Like this is a bigger issue. You need help.
The world goes past your nose. Like there's other things going on.
Right.
Know? I don't know how else to like put that.
I wish this was my biggest problem, whether I'm sitting at a bar. Like I got real shit going on over here. Like, okay. Like,
wow. David, I cannot explain how much you are like speaking my language.
See, like, you've got me started. I thought I had nothing to say. And now I'm just like pissed off at the world over here.
Also, you do have a not date in about a half hour and I don't want you to keep them waiting.
I have a drink at least. That's all it is.
2 drinks and a buzz to go to bed.
I mean, this is why I'm just like, when I go on dates, like I actually don't even care because I'll just drink. And to me, it's like, maybe because of what we do and we're podcasters, like I can talk to anyone and
hell yeah.
I'll just get drunk and call it after half an hour and be like, I got to leave now.
Right. Like, you know who you're vibing with after like, 15 minutes of talking to somebody. I know who I'll get along with and I know who I won't. So let's wrap it up or like, let's keep going. You know what I mean? I could totally get that. And I get not calling it a date because then you get the text from your like friends the next day, like how'd the date go?
Because like it really isn't. It's like, it's really not a date, but like, I don't know that it's not, it's weird.
It could turn into one, but that's not for like you to decide until like you're there.
And listen, if it's not, I'm more than happy with that. Like I just,
Right.
Right.
I'm going 3 blocks from my house on purpose, and I'll be home at like a very decent hour.
That's like the beauty of Chelsea, though.
Hell
like,
yeah.
Chelsea. It's like you could literally walk, I'm sure, like a block away and be like, meet me here because I have like cool places near my place.
And I'm like, this is where we're going, and I am not leaving this neighborhood tonight.
I love that. I love that for you. You've literally been my favorite guest thus far. I mean, I
can agree with that statement.
You, and I cannot wait for this episode to air because I'm going to be like, everyone has to go listen to what my friend David said.
That's amazing. I'm so glad I'm your favorite guest ever. I will take it.
We're honored to really have you. And make sure you guys check out his podcast at Behind the Velvet Rope. And you have a Twitter as well, right? And it's the same at name?
So Behind the Velvet Rope is the name of the podcast on Apple. On Instagram, it's Behind Velvet Rope. There is no the.
Oh, okay.
So Behind Velvet Rope is the best way on Instagram. And do I have a Twitter? Yes. Do you think I know what my Twitter is? Here's the bottom line. If you go onto Twitter and you talk to someone, it might be me. It's probably not me. I have someone who does my Twitter. But if you go on, if you go onto Instagram and you DM or follow or whatever, it really is me. Like I am attached to Instagram 24 hours a day. So it's Behind Velvet Rope.
And it will also be in the about this episode, on all channels, Apple, Spotify, etc.
Yes, listen to the podcast.
Yeah, you guys should definitely check out his podcast. I've listened to an episode or two thus far, even not being a reality TV, connoisseur, and I've been loving just like your whole vibe, and that's why I was super excited for this. So thank you so much for joining us. Seriously, you've been awesome.
Yes.
Anytime, and I'll come back on anytime you guys want.